Hello, and this is another unboxing video about drifting chassis, and this is the latest MST KMW IMX 3.0, and this is what it looks like when it was out of the box. And there are some parts I bought, a lot of springs because I've got a lot of other drifting chassis, and it's very nicely packed. And this is the box. And in my opinion, it looks probably the same size as the one I have bought about 2 months earlier. And this is 146 out of 300. And this is a limited edition. The color is black, and the previous KMW FXX 2.0 I have bought is colored in silver, and it looks very nice. So now let's just open it. Okay. Three side. Anyway, it's a little bit stiff. And now I've recognized, and it's made in Taiwan province, China. And this the bag for the stickers and user manual, instruction manual. And oh, there's some dust. I don't know where it came from. And let's open this. Oh, a lot of parts. And as I've mentioned in my previous videos, the MST's dampers were not pre-assembled. Here you can see these dampers, and this time they finally provided with this kind of silicone rubber O-rings, and presumably it won't leak, and they will be very smooth, just like the Yokomo ones. And here is the gorgeous thing. And to my surprise, they have put these things to prevent it from being damaged during transport. And I haven't recognized this thing when I opened the earlier KMW FXX 2.0. Look at this, it looks very nice and way much more simpler. Yeah, let's put the box away. And yeah, oh, it's really smooth, rather smooth. And has a little bit of wobbling. A little bit of wobbling is okay. And it just looks okay. Let me see, how can I remove this? Here. Yeah. Oh, they also provided with this piece of paper, and maybe if anywhere got rusty, you can use this to wipe them. I don't know what's the exact function of this thing. Probably it's like what I've said. And this really looks okay. And the rear A-arm system is very similar to the FXX I have bought, and very traditional MST design. The bowl differential, and what makes it very unique is the rear gearbox, and in the previous rear gearboxes like the RMX 2.0 or 2.0S, they provided a lot of that kind of gear. Is that bevel gear or spur gear? No, it's bevel gear maybe. It's very hard to adjust. You have to shim it. Sometimes you have to mill the gearbox to make it fit perfectly. Otherwise, you're going to damage your gears. And it's very smooth. Yeah, this is the board for you to place the SC, and thank God. And many people would say, oh, thank Jesus, they have abandoned the top-mounted lay-down design of the dampers, because that is very hard to turn, it's very hard to adjust. But I don't know why it's very hard. I know how to turn it. Probably they just didn't figure out the way. And it doesn't have a slide like some of the best drifting chassis, like the Yokomo's YD-2 SX3, or even the cheapest version of Overdose. And it's very sick. And 2.5 maybe, or 2.0, but definitely is thinner than the FXX. And this brake disc looks very nice. Very like the real thing. The front is bigger, the rear is smaller, and it's really light. And in terms of tunability, and if you want to change the angle of, oh, there's some plastic bags thing like that. Oh, if you want to change the angle of the suspension, and you need to shim this thing. You see there is already two shimmers are already placed here. If you want to make it longer, and you need to change longer, this kind of how to say this, bow pin or bow head, I don't know, and to make this thing longer. And if you want to change the length of the lower A arm, I didn't mean the length of the lower A arm, it's just the length between this axle to your suspension. There are a lot of holes, but they're not constant. And the rear is very much the same as the previous KMW versions, and it's constant. It didn't provide you with a lot of holes, but it's constant, and it has very fine dials. And the battery mount is very simple. It screws, unscrew them, and then you can mount a battery on it. Oh, it's way much better. To my surprise, it's a very nice design. Okay, you don't need to lose the screw to put it away, and somebody maybe curious about this will pick them up and put them inside of their own pockets. And here you can put some thicker batteries in the battery mount, and this part is what makes this different. It's limited edition, and they only made 300 of this. And the rear A-arm system is very unique system produced by MST, but you can only have all this lower A-arm system in aluminum if you buy the pre-assembled limited edition. It's just very much the same as the system in FXX 2.0, and it means when your car gets slower, and it can change the toe angle, and it's very nice. You can buy it separately and as plastic version, but it only costs you just maybe $2,000 I don't know, anyway, it's cheap, and it is going to have very similar performance as this one. And the only difference is the KWM version of the rear C cup. It only has it has 3 holes for you to tune it, but the plastic version, I'm going to show you that. This one. Yeah, here. It's a little bit dirty, and on the plastic version like this, MST IMX 2.0S, heavily upgraded, you only have 2 holes. Here you can see you only have 2 holes to tune it, but the tunability means it's good. It's a good thing, but if it's very finely tuned, I think 2 holes are totally enough for you. And they got rid of this plate, but I think this plate is very easy to tune. You just need to loosen it and move it and tighten it. But however, on this you have to completely remove this thing and shim it. Not that good. And oh, the battery. Just let me put it away. Anyway, this one is way much cheaper, but if you want to upgrade 2.0, it can never be fully upgraded to 3.0, because a lot of parts, like I've said, this part is not it's not sold separately. So, but you can have the parts have the same function. So this is pretty much very much cheaper than that one, and I believe they're going to have very similar performances. And just throw this thing away. Let's see what's inside of the box. As I've mentioned, dampers. The MST dampers are not the best, but they're far from the worst. And the things for you to mount the body shell, and it provides you with the tools, and this tool will cost you about less than $20 maybe, and a lot of other things, a lot of parts. And the thing is, it provided way much more parts than the previous FXX 2.0, and this bag is completely for, they provide you with all the springs, all the stiffness of the springs you might need, and it's totally different from the previous FXX 2.0. They only provided you with just the spring, and they will preset it for you. And this part here have another gear, and this this battery mount, another style of battery mount. I think it's the same as the one I've shown you. This one is pretty much the same as this one, but you have to use some rubber ring to just make your battery sit there. And put this away, and this is, I don't know what the function of this is. I still don't understand. Maybe this is for you to mount your body shell. And this is the toolbox, and some grease for you to do the maintenance of the gearbox and the rear bolt differential. And I feel the rear power differential is way much more stiffer than the one on the FXX. Way much more stiffer. I don't know why. And here is the back for the user manual. And here's a tube for your antenna. And this looks very nice because they're colored. Yeah. And they're colored, and you can mount your servo in 3 different positions and 2 different styles. This is one style, this is another style. I really like this. I really like this style. And you can mount your battery in 3 different positions, the same as the 2.0. Yeah, the same as this one. And also, yeah, this the layouts for you, different layout. Oh, I really like this colored paintings. And this is to show you, I don't know, this anyway, when I record this video and everything is upside down, it's very hard for me to read anything. And this is for you to mount the dampers and the servo saver. Yeah, the servo saver here. I bought it separately for my older FXX 2.0 because I broke that servo saver. And this servo saver it looks the best, but anyways, the performance of this is far from the best. And this is the tutorial for you to tune this chassis, and there's several motor positions. So probably only 3 motor positions because they only provide you with several holes, not like the Husqvarna's PDSR or NGE, the newest chassis, the NGE, and all the holes are constant. You can just rotate it to place a motor at any height, any position you want. And here, how to mount the body shell. And this is what is different from the previous version. And all the gears, this style of gear, I don't know how to call it, it's like spur gear, I don't know. Anyway, these gears are very much more easier to adjust. And yeah, I can show you the user manual of the 2.0. Yeah, here's the 2.0S. And even I believe on the KMW version of the RMX 2.0, they still provided you with the old style of rear gearbox, but the casing was made in aluminum. The only difference. And here, you can see a lot of this kind of gears, and it's very, very hard to adjust this gear. Put it in the frame. It's very, very hard to adjust this gear. And I bought that 2.0S second-handed, and the previous owner, and he's a newbie, and he doesn't know how to maintain this. He doesn't know how to adjust this thing, adjust the gearbox, and it's just disassemble it and try to grease it, and it just full of powders melt from these 2 gears and this gear on the differential. And this looks very, very nice. User manual. And you need to shim everything. And this can be bought separately for your previous version of any MST chassis. And this thing will cost you about D55R. Sorry, it's just too expensive. The MST's aluminum parts are just extremely expensive, and the price is very similar to the overdose ones. And this is what's important, because it's pre-assembled, it's pre-tuned, and the tuning is very, very nice. And I have to mention, in each and every MST chassis, you can have this suggested values. So it's very, very friendly to newbie, like this one. It's a very cheap chassis, and it's provided with everything. And you just follow the steps and assemble this. There won't be any mistake, and you can just start to learn how to drift. And this, the things that has been filled in this, it's pretty much like handwriting, but in fact they are printed. And once I've sent a photo of the setup sheets of RMX chassis, and he just doesn't believe it. He thought it was my handwriting. He said, "Oh, your handwriting is very good, but I don't believe in these values. I don't believe in these settings." So it's very hard to convince anyone that all the setup were made by the people who designed it and produced it. And here are the spare parts list. That's pretty much of it. And the rubber rings. And you might need these rubber rings, but I only attach this on the older 2.0S ones. But if you place a battery which fits the size of it, it can just sit there because it's a drifting chassis. It's not a buggy, or it's not a rally, it's not a something should be run on a very rough terrain. So it can just sit there perfectly for a long time. You don't need to worry about that. And that's the parts I bought. I bought a lot of separate springs to mount on some other chassis, and I can also, maybe the next part is to compare this top product to some other top products that I've bought, like this one. The best one produced by Yokomo. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty because I played it yesterday and I haven't cleaned it. And this is the YD-2 SX3 pre-assembled edition. And as I've mentioned, it just came with these dampers assembled, and I've been using this for a month and it never leaked. And I have to say the Yokomo dampers are the best. The very best. They are the best that I have ever used. I don't know if the others can do it better or not. And I believe why they provided these dampers pre-assembled and all the damper fluid filled inside is the dampers are so high quality, so it won't leak during the transportation. It won't leak when the air pressure changes. They will never leak when the temperature changes. Yeah, and it's very similar. The motor mounts are in very similar style. And this cutouts looks pretty, and I believe they're just they are just one function. I believe is can be used as a heat sink, and it can make it lighter and remain the same strength. And the gearboxes, you couldn't see the gearboxes, and when this gearbox on this chassis is made of plastic. But anyway, plastic is okay. I really believe plastic is okay, but of course aluminum is better, but plastic is totally enough. And also the front dumper mount, and they provide with a lot of holes, but you can only mount it on 8 positions, and 8 positions are totally enough for you. You couldn't figure out the difference between this style and the one next to it. You couldn't see the difference. And see here, it's provided with 4 holes. Can you see it? Sorry. the AAR shaft mount. Yeah, here it provided with 4 holes, and here it provided with it's so black, it's so dark. This I don't know how many holes are in there, but it's solid enough for you to turn it. And what's the difference? It has a lot more cutouts to make it lighter. And there's another version you have to buy separately, and the lower board could be more expensive, and it has just way much fucking cutouts to make it as light as possible, but it's just too expensive. And the lower A-arm, and it has dials. The Yokomo has dials. It's way much easier to change the lens, and you don't need to have used a caliper all the time. And the C-cup, I believe is aluminum. Yeah, aluminum parts, they're just more precise, because when you assemble something like this one, it's plastic. When you just install the screw for the first time, if you haven't installed any chassis, you're a newbie, it's very easy for you to make it not that precise by just install the screw not vertical straight in. And here the lower A-arm here is adjustable, I think. It's not that easy adjustable. You have to unscrew everything, maybe to put some shimmers here. Very old style. Very old school, right? And here is very easy to adjust. Maybe, I don't know. I've got no idea. Presumably unscrew something, but I haven't seen the screws. You have to unscrew everything. You have to disassemble everything to unscrew these 2 screws. It's so dark. I'm not sure if you can see it. And adjust the lens. And here you can use some kind of screw, the ball head screw, just to unscrew this thing and adjust the length of the rear A-arms. And that's probably pretty much of it. And it hasn't provided me with any board to mount your ESC at the rear to make it to make the rear heavier. And so I just use some double-sided tape, just put it here, and it works very well. And the dampers, here, I haven't disassembled this, but I believe the layout of the gearbox has the same style as the new MST 3. MST RMX 3.0. And that's pretty much of it. And I'm going to mount some electronics on this in the following days, and I'm going to test run it on some ceramic tile surface or some paint surfaces, and that's pretty much of it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.